Alright, so here's a little tutorial. So the first thing that I want you to key in on is the net. So once you go to the net, this is just the website for New England Biolabs. And in here you can find the enzyme finder down here. And there's also this thing called the net cutter, which is going to be our best friend. That's also on our BioTools link. Now you've been given a gene name, so I'm going to do a gene called HRAS. And it's got a specific code, and its code is 194363761. So I just punch that in here, and then I go submit. Okay? Now, it's got a ton of enzymes that are kind of like just like a default digest. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a custom digest because I've set the parameters of this lab that you don't have access to every single enzyme. So we're going to go to parameter number 1. All right? Now, as we're going through, if you don't see that enzyme there, then that means it doesn't cut. So our first enzyme available is ACC1. It's not here. All right. Our next available enzyme is APA1, and it is here, so we're going to check it. All right. BAMH1. It's not here. ESTX1. Scroll down. There it is there. Now, this one's got a weird cut site. Technically, it shouldn't be used for restriction digestion, but for the purposes of this lab, we can pretend like that's actually a specific thing. But these ends in here mean anything can be in there. All right? See? It says anything can. All right? BTG1, right there. And if it says R, that means that's a purine, and a Y, that means a pyrimidine. But we're just going to assume that they all cut properly, and everybody's happy. All right, EG1 is good to go. All right, Echo 0109I. Bang. Take that too. Technically not the best cut, but we're breaking some rules here. That's okay. Echo R5, not here. Moving on. Hink 2. Hink 2, not here. All right, Hindi 3. Nope. KPN 1. Nope. Not 1. Should be. Yeah. Now, not 1 and EG1 actually will recognize and cut the same sequence. They're called isoschizomers. All right. PVU2. Yep. SAC1 and SAC2. SAC2 is there. SAW1. Nope. SAP1. Nope. Small one. Yep. Oh, that's a blunt end cutter. That's okay. And SPE1. Nope. XPA1. Nope. ZO1 or XMA1. Now, if I have my choice, if you look here, check it out. So small 1 recognizes CCC GGG. All right? And so does XMA1, but you'll notice that SMA1 is a blunt end cutter, whereas XMA1 is actually a 5' sticky end. That would be actually preferred to use. All right? So even though they recognize the same sequence, we would prefer to use, out of these two, we would use XMA. All right? Okay, so we're going to hit digest. Now what's really cool is if you've put your numbers in right, then your open reading frame will be visible right there. Okay. You can even click on that thing, and then all of a sudden, it actually gives you your protein sequence. So there's your first methionine all the way through to the end. Right? This is actually kind of a small protein as far as they go. We'll go back. All right. So what's our next step? From the enzymes above, find one that's upstream of the open reading frame. So the open reading frame is right there. Begins right there. Now what's really killer is we can actually click right on there, mark it with an X, and go zoom in. And then we can see our choices. Now I'm going to unzoom because I'm going to take a look at some enzymes that I may want to use, but I maybe not. So let's go through one by one. Should we use BTG1? Yes or no? It cuts here, it cuts here, and it cuts here. Should we use it? This is a good pick. because it cuts right in the open reading frame. Bad choice. All right. Okay. One of the other parameters that I suggested, or that I require, is that if it's upstream and it cuts, you have to pick the one that's closest to the open reading frame, but not inside of it. Because often what happens is you're not only splicing your gene, then you're adding other elements and components to your recombinant. Right? Getting the gene in there is the first step. You might hook up a different promoter that'll drive its expression differently. Right? So you need as much space, and plasmids can only get so big before the bacteria are like, yeah, no, I don't want them. All right? So the whole idea is to get as close as you can. So echo 01, that one looks close but not inside. But the problem is it cuts there as well. So that guy's out. All right? Small 1 and X-small 1 are both here. Right? One cuts at 165 and one cuts at 163. Now, I said pick the one that's closer to it. According to this instruction, who would I pick? X-small 1 or small 1? According to that rule. Small 1, okay? But if it wasn't a real lab, I'd actually pick X-small 1. This has got the sticky end. Okay? The sticky end will ensure that that link will more likely form. But blunt ends will form. Okay? That can happen. All right, so that's going to be what's called restriction endonuclease number 1. So that's question parameter number 2. From the enzymes above, we're going to go downstream of the open reading frame. Okay, so we've got these two that are really close, and they cut at the same site. So I could use either of them. What might be my deciding factor? They cut exactly the same site. They recognize and cut the exact same site. No one's better than the other. If I'm in a lab, why would I choose one over the other? They cut exactly the same spot. Simple. Which one's cheaper? Okay? Comes down to money. Right? Being a research scientist requires great frugality. Now, my teacher gave me a thing called a fingerprint enzyme called PVU2. And by my teacher, I mean myself. All right? So I'm joking. All right. So we're going to do a new custom digest. So we've picked our choices, and I'm going to follow these rules. Okay? Small 1 would have been a better choice. Sorry, X small 1 would be a better choice, but small ones, and it would be fine. Like a base pair here or there wouldn't matter. Okay? So I'm going to do another custom digest. I'm going to include my cut for the fingerprint enzyme. So I've given you a fingerprint enzyme as well. That cuts at least once inside of your gene, and at least once inside of the plasmid that you're going to use. All right? And then our final cut is going to be E1 or not 1, either or. It doesn't matter. I'll just say not 1. Okay, so I'm going to digest that. All right, now this one's interesting. What will happen is you'll see up top here that they have some default enzymes that put on either end. Just ignore those unless they're the enzyme you're going to use to cut. All right, unless it's on our choice that you're allowed to draw from. Okay. So I'd actually have to make my map now of this, so I'm going to kind of cheat and do a screenshot. All right. So if I look here, my gene ID number for HRAS is the one that I gave you. So when you're filling this in, you're just going to punch your number in. 1, 9, 4, 3, 6, 3, 7, 6, 1. Gene symbol, HRAS. cDNA length for this guy, how big is this cDNA? From beginning to end for me. The answer's on the board. 1,169. So that's the total length. I'm going to be splicing a fragment out of that into either P blue script or KS or SK. That's a whole other step. All right, we have to figure out which one we're going to use. Okay. So we've decided then that we're going to use small 1. Now, even though small 1 cuts twice, that's okay. So we're going to have a fragment there, a fragment there, a fragment there, this chunk here, this chunk here, and to the end. Okay. Now the one that we're going to keep for splicing is going to go from here to here. Okay, so this is just some rough work that I'm doing on the side. Now, what's really awesome actually with this piece of software that New England Biolabs has is you can actually just go fragments and click on that button right there. And it'll do two things. It's going to make a list ordering them from the largest to the smallest, and then it's going to make a list ordering them from the actual order that they appeared. So I'm going to keep that guy just sort of on the side over there. So I'm going to make my map here. Now, we want it to be approximate. So I'm just going to snag this map here. I'm going to slap it underneath here. That's not bad, actually. Trim it out a bit. Let's line it up. This will just help me with my spacing things. Okay, so this is just approximate. And again, you can be approximate as well. So I'm going to put a cut right there. I'm going to go to a small one. Now it's a little bit crowded, so I'm going to do a cut down low here. Let's use that. That small one site there. I've got my PVU2 up here. I've got my knot one here, and I've got my small one here. So here's the cool bit. I just use these points here to fill in what I've got. Okay, so that point is 112, 53, 89, 529, 202, and 184. Okay. Mine's pretty comprehensive. I picked this one as a demonstration because it's actually tougher than the ones you'll have. Okay, the ones that give you are simpler. I think there's only one out there that uses PVU2. That's fine. Okay, now we got to put in their actual cut sites. So I'm going to go back to my neb, and what's cool is you can just hover over. Okay, so that guy's at 112. I'm just going to jot these down. 112, 165, 254. 783, 985. You don't have to tell me what kind of cut site it is. We're just going to trust that they all match and it all works. Okay? Fair play? One less step to do. Okay, so now I'm going to actually put the numbers beside it. So this guy is 112. You want to space yours out a bit better than I have here. 165. You don't have to put brackets around them either. 254. And knot one is at 783. And 983 here. And there we go. Okay, next step I want to color that. So what color do I like for this one? I'm going to use blue for blue script. You can use whatever you want. I'll just use yellow. It's easy. Okay. Or I can even use a highlighter. That's fun too. Crayons are more fun. Sorry. So I'm just going to do a little coloring, little adult coloring here. Okay, so that's going to be the fragment. So you just want to highlight or color in here what I like to call your keeper fragments. So now I know I need to go from small one. So the fact that there's this small one here won't matter, will it? Because that's all going to be cut away. Okay. And the fact that there's this small one here won't matter, because that's all going to be cut away as well. Don't do those scribbles on your thing. They look like garbage. All right, I'm just making a point. All right. Please scribble. All right. So now our next step. Well, we know that the direction of expression is going this way, right? And we know with P blue script, plasmid, which direction are we wanting to load that gene in? Clockwise or counterclockwise? Who remembers? Which way does lax E go? Blue script. Clockwise or counterclockwise? What direction is that? Counterclockwise, right? We can't read analog clocks anymore. That's going to be a thing in the next few generations, isn't it? Can we do this in digital, please? All right. So, lax C kind of goes there. That's. Okay, so here we go. We're back at it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go new DNA, all right? Now, what are the codes for P blue script? There's two choices. 58061 will give us P blue script KS, PBS KS, all right? Look at this insanity. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do a quick little custom digest. We're going to use the enzymes that we've chosen. So, I said, did I say eat one or not one? I picked not one, didn't I? Yeah. Okay. Whatever, it's probably cheaper. Whichever of those two would be cheaper would be the choice that I'd make. Then make the same cuts. BBU2 is my fingerprint enzyme. And then small one, right? Was the other choice? Even though small one would have been better. That's okay. We're going to digest that. Okay. So, what I do here is I go, well, is this the one I want to use? You might get lucky and actually land on it on the first try, but you kind of got to check both. Where'd my marker go? There it is. Okay? So, small one is my restriction end nuclease number 1. And that's not working out for me. Hold on a second. Let me just do a quick little cut. All right. That's going to be loud on your video, so plug your ears. Jeez. Okay. So there's that one. Now we're going to do the same cut. Well, we'll just have a quick little examine because this might have actually worked out to our advantage right off the top. Okay? So 58061 is P. We're just going to call it PBS for short, okay? So you don't have to write blue script every time. All right. Now, it just so happens that this one works because if I take a look, this is going to load my gene in that counterclockwise direction we needed to go. Okay, so I lucked out. All right. What would happen if it didn't? Then I would choose the other one, right? If I choose the other one, the small one should be above not one. Does that make sense? I lost anything. Okay, so the multiple cloning sites just flip for these. All right, so we now know that P blue script KS is the choice. So we're going to keep that. Now, unlike most of yours, mine has 2 fingerprint cut sites. All right? So in my final recombinant, I've got a PBU site here, and I'm going to have a PBU site in my insert in between. Right? Most of yours will have just 2, or just one in each fragment. Okay? So now we're just going to draw out our map. So if I just give a ballpark of this map, throw PBU2 up here. And then it goes to Well, let's erase this slack C. We don't need to have that. That was just for reference. Okay. Then we got our not 1. Now on this map, it's really, really tight together. Give yourself enough space to write in your numbers. It doesn't have to be exactly 100% accurate, just roughly in the same locations on the clock. All right, so my keeper fragment, again, this is an important thing, is I'm going to keep that part all the way around to small 1, okay? Do some adult coloring book here. There you go. Okay, so that's going to be my keeper fragment. Now I got to figure out how big that piece is. Well, first things first, we got to figure out what the map is. So let's clean this up. Delete this guy. Okay. That's just making me a bit crazy, but that's okay. Scratches. Don't have those scratches. All right. So, keeper fragments. Let's figure them out. Well, again, we can go back to the net and just go fragments, which is pretty sweet. But you got to do the map as well. So that first PVU2 is 529. Then not 1 is 670. The small one is 697. And our second PVU is going to be 977. Okay. So fragments. This piece of software is just beautiful. I wish I had it back in the day. It would have saved me a ton of time. Okay, so we're going to go here. So PVU to not 1 is 141. Okay. Not 1 to small 1 is 27. Small 1 PVU2 is 280. And then the big boy, 2513. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say KS map so that we know. And you go back here and just, you can either scratch out 1 or just put a check mark. So 58061, and that'll tell me that you made the right choice. By the way, I had to do all 20 of these so that I could mark them all. And that's fine. It's fun to me. When you get to grade 25, things get easier. Okay. So we're done with the neb cutter. We've got everything laid out. Now we're ready to do our cutting and pasting. So let's figure out the totals of our keeper fragments. 529 plus 89. 8, carry the 1, 11, 1, 618. Okay? Okay, can someone just do this for me on a calculator quick? 2513 plus 141 plus 280. Never mind, I can do it. Got it. 4, 5 is 3, 1, 9, 2934. Okay, so that's our P blue script keeper. Okay, cool. You don't have to show that work, okay? That's quite rough work. Just show the map, but have these numbers, because that's going to give us our total, right? So now we're going to make our final combo, okay? So we're going to call this plasmid PBS, KS, HRAS. All right. So to get our total for this bad boy, so 2934 plus 618 it was. Gives us 2,155. Okay, so 3,552 base pairs total. All right. So that PBU1 at cut site number 112 is going to stay where it was. So grab my calculator here. All right, so if I go back to here, $112, $165. No, that's not right. Sorry. Oh, there. Put them down wrong. $529, $670, $697, and $977. Okay, so when I do my splicing, some of these are going to stay the same, and some of them are going to change. Who's going to change? Who's going to stay the same? So we're going to keep the numbering based on the plasmid that we started with. You follow? Keep the numbering based on the plasmid you started with. So who changes? Thumbs up if this changes. That location, that number. When I do my insert in here, will that change? Yes or no? No, it won't. Okay, so that's going to stay. No change. No change. That's going to change. And that's going to change. It's going to get bigger, right? Because we're popping out that little 27, and we're jamming in this 618 fragment. So everything's going to move up. Okay. Minus 27 plus 618, whatever that is. Okay, so I've got an 89 and 529. All right. So my first fragment then, or my first location is going to be 529. So I'm just going to go 529 divided by 3552 is about 15%. So there's 25, there's 12, about there. Okay, nudge over, not 1 at 670. So this 141 remains the same. 18, that's fine. That's close enough. Okay, now we have to figure out who comes next. Who's following not 1? Well, let's go back. So who's going to follow not 1? My 529 or my 89? Shout it out. It's a 50-50. If you're wrong, it's okay. From my keeper fragment, because we're going to insert this. Well, if I put 89, that's the small one side, isn't it?
Oh.
You see it now? Ah, okay, good. That's what I'm looking for, the aha moment. Oh, okay, yeah, now I get it. All right, so the next piece is 529. Okay, so all I'm going to do is go 670 plus 529. Gives me 1199. And divide that by 3552. Gives me 33%. Okay, so 33%. So there's 50. Yeah. It's going to be back about, let's say there. Okay. Now, remember, this PVU2 was the one that was in HRAS. That's actually his full name, HRAS. That PVU2 was the one that came in my fragment. The next bit is my 89. So I'm just going to go 1199 plus 89. It's like a Fitbit. We're just walking along the circle here. 3,552 steps. So where are we at on the map? Okay. So divided by 3,552 is 36%. We'll just back. Do that. Okay, so that's that cut segment. Now, what's really cool, I get to do my coloring. Okay. I have one more PVU site though. Right? And if I look back here, it's 280 base pairs away. 1568. Let's write that down for copy. Pen. 1568 divided by 3,552 is 44%. So it's about there, not quite at 50%. Oops. Fun part, color that baby in. And there's your final map. Scale. Really? No golf clap? At least. High school movie clap. Slow high school mag. Thank you. Thank you very much.